Program Director, Minister Ramokgopa, Premier Winde, ministers from here at home and a number of other countries in our state. It gives me great pleasure to be in your presence and to address you in this, the second South African Green Hydrogen Summit. I am sorry that I'm unable to be there in person. It isn't has much to do with your summit competing with the Springboks victory last night. But I am where I am, and I'm sorry about that. I've spent the better part of the morning trying to speak to President Macron just to commiserate, but we have not been able to talk. And we talk often about the highs and the lows of both of our countries, and I'm sure that we will be able to talk later. But South Africans are reveling in this incredible success that our boys have achieved in Paris. Many of them felt that we should declare today as a public holiday, and I declined, and I said we will only consider that when they win the final, at which I will personally be present. This is an extremely important summit for our country and our people. South Africa aims to position itself as a globally competitive player in this dynamic and growing industry. The South African investment strategy, which was approved by our cabinet earlier this year, lists green hydrogen as one of the big frontier strategic sectors that is expected to attract foreign and domestic direct investment. The hydrogen economy has a prominent role to play in our country's just energy transition, providing employment and support to vulnerable workers, communities, and small businesses, and indeed also giving a great impetus to the growth of our medium and big businesses. It has been estimated that the hydrogen economy has the potential to add 3.6% to our gross domestic product by 2050 and approximately create at the minimum 370,000 jobs. Now, being South Africa, where jobs are scarce and our unemployment is significantly high, this would be no mean feat. In fact, it would be a major boost to lowering our unemployment levels. We must act with purpose to harness the potential of the green hydrogen economy. Some 64 countries, accounting for 89% of global emissions, have announced net zero targets by 2050. It is anticipated that global green hydrogen demand will increase sevenfold by 2050. And I'm sure that some of these statistics have already been put forward to all of you by Premier Winde and by Dr. Ramokgopa, the Minister of Electricity. For the world to limit global warming to less than 1.5 degrees Celsius, green hydrogen will need to constitute 10 to 20% of the global energy mix. South Africa has committed to ambitious emission reduction targets, Our own estimates indicate that green hydrogen has the potential to remove 10 to 15% of our domestic emissions and contribute to our nation's long-term energy security. The inaugural South African Green Hydrogen Summit last year focused on scaling up regional cooperation around green hydrogen. This is being done through the African Green Hydrogen Alliance, which includes a number of countries on our continent, they being Egypt, Kenya, Mauritania, Morocco, Namibia, Ethiopia, Angola, and South Africa. Last week, I visited Namibia during our Binational Commission summit with President Hage Geingob, and we spent a considerable amount of time talking about this green hydrogen endowment that both our countries now have. We agreed that we would continue to play a key and a leading role in ensuring that this endowment leads to the growth of our two economies, and indeed together with all the other countries that I've mentioned. The alliance aims to harness Africa's potential in developing green hydrogen industries. It aims to make joint calls for technical support, funding, and market access to international public and private sector partners. This is precisely what we spent a considerable amount of time talking about. The inaugural summit laid strong policy foundation. This year's summit has a dedicated project focus, providing an opportunity to demonstrate the degree to which products have matured and advanced. This is also an opportunity to demonstrate technological development and advancements in the green hydrogen space. Close cooperation between public, private, and financial partners will be key to unlocking Africa's green hydrogen potential. This will enable mass-scale domestic and international demand for green hydrogen and increase cooperation on green hydrogen production, storage, and distribution infrastructure. If investment is significantly scaled up, and we expect it to be, green hydrogen can deliver the equivalent of more than 1/3 of Africa's current energy consumption and increase our collective GDP, improve our clean energy supply, and empower our communities through access to energy. Proper planning, regulatory and incentive schemes are critical to mobilize private sector investment. And this is precisely what we in the public sector are focusing attention on to make the entry and the investment of the private sector to be much more conducive. And it is also in this regard that we are willing, ready, and prepared to listen to what the private sector has to say to us in the form of suggestions, in the form of ideas, so that we are well synchronized in our thinking together as the public and the private sector. Of course, not forgetting the views of the communities surrounding whatever installations that will be put up. South Africa has deep capital markets with world-class conditions for generating renewable energy through solar and wind, which are key drivers to the production of green hydrogen. Funding green hydrogen projects will require innovative, creative, and new financing structures sourced from multiple stakeholders. If there ever was a time for innovation of packaging investment instruments to enable us to solve the challenge of lack of capital. And may I add, I'm often told that capital is not the problem. The problem is just being able to package the instruments through which investors can invest, and also to package projects properly. And once the two are matched, I've often been told that then we get to dance. In June 2023, South Africa concluded a heads of agreement with the intention to launch the South Africa H2 Fund. This is an innovative blended finance fund that will facilitate the development of a green hydrogen sector and circular economy in South Africa. South Africa H2 aims to secure $1 billion in funding raised directly in South Africa or via indirect channels. The fund is a partnership of private and public enterprises, both sourced locally and globally. And we're finding tremendous interest in this fund. Since the last summit, we have made advances towards building the green hydrogen industry in our country. And these include a joint declaration of intent with the German government focusing on market access, offtake, opportunities, and value additive benefits in the production of green steel and green fertilizer. South Africa has also signed a memorandum of understanding with the Netherlands as an off-taker for green hydrogen derivative products. It is encouraging to note that a memorandum of cooperation will be signed at this conference by 3 multinationals in the green hydrogen mobility space, namely Sasol, Anglo American, and BMW. This demonstrates forward movement and great progress. Sasol will serve as a supplier to Anglo American and BMW as part of their focus on commercial and passenger fleet transformation. These are important initiatives within the context of carbon border adjustment mechanisms. As I conclude, allow me to thank all the partners and the sponsors that have made this summit possible. A special mention should go to Anglo American, BMW, Sasol, the IDC, and GIZ. I wish business and government delegations at this summit, as well as other community-based representatives, well, as we work together to shape Africa's green hydrogen agenda for the benefit of our economies and societies. And I also want to thank presence of ministers and delegates from a number of countries right across the world and our continent. May you have a most fruitful and productive conference. Thank you very much. Be well. Thank you.